Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I'm very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we are in Forgotten Hollow. So, I may say this in almost every video of a world that I don't play in very often, but like seriously, I don't play in this world at all. This is not a world that I would typically choose. Basically, I do family gameplay more often than not, so Forgotten Hollow doesn't really suit that. There was like this one time, I think, that I made a vampire family when I first got the vampire pack because I wanted to play around with that new functionality and all the things that came with it, but I'm not here often. However, Realm of Magic is coming out on September 10th, so we are getting closer and closer to the release date, and I am so stoked. So what I wanted to do was build a Spellcaster's cottage, and I was browsing Pinterest and I was looking at like old stone cottages, which pulled up a lot of like English cottages, and I was specifically looking for cottages with turrets. I couldn't really find one that matched exactly what I was envisioning, but I ended up coming up with this and it kind of sort of worked, I think. So the structure itself is pretty much together at this point, and it is very small. So this ends up being a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. And I originally kind of wanted to do a spellcaster cottage for like a magical family. That was my initial thought, but I really liked how this structure looked all together, so I kept it the way it was. And the turret, actually only the very first floor is accessible because, well, we don't have spiral staircases. And let me just say, because there's speculation that we might get them with this pack, I will immediately place one in that turret if we do. But of course that is completely unconfirmed. We have no clue if that's actually happening or not, but I really have my fingers crossed because spiral staircases, I just love them and I need them. I need them for smaller spaces like apartments. I feel like that would have been an ideal time for us to actually get spiral staircases. What do you guys think? Do you think that city living would have been a great pack to actually get those? Because I feel like apartment living for a very small like 2-story apartment, a spiral staircase would be so perfect. But anyway, we don't have them yet. I hope we get them. But here I'm doing the landscaping and I went into the debug menu and I used a lot of the plants that actually came with the vampire pack in that new debug menu. And I tried to go with kind of like darker plants. So like darker colored trees, darker greens, like really foresty, thick colors. Nothing really bright because, well, this world's a little dull and I don't want to say dead. Vampires technically aren't dead. They are the undead, right? So it's not like it's a dead world, but it's not very colorful whatsoever. And so a lot of these kind of like bigger bushes and kind of, I guess, like fern looking plants really worked well as some of the shrubs that came with this pack. And I didn't want this lot to look creepy. Like that wasn't my goal. I'm not going for like a creepy, vampire-y, culty spellcaster. I'm just going for, I guess, kind of like your more off the grid rustic spellcaster, if that's a way to describe it. I don't really know. But what I do is I actually do place gravestones out near the giant tree here. And I did that because I was thinking that maybe this was like a family property. So I'm still thinking magical bloodline, and maybe that these were the members of the spellcaster's family that had passed on over generations and generations. Like I said, not creepy, just it has some history to it, I guess you could say. But yeah, I really liked how it came out. And here I'm just kind of adding a second story. So I will disclose that this bedroom is upstairs in the second story. It is so awkward, and I didn't really mean it to be that awkward, but it worked. There's only a single bed, so there isn't a double bed up here. There's only a single one, but it does work. It's just that the roof, unless you have the walls completely down, the roof actually does cut off a lot of the bedroom, and I don't think it's supposed to do that, but you guys have to let me know. I don't know if that's a thing, because usually if you had stairs and like a room up there, the roof wouldn't really cut it off. It would kind of like blank itself out. Do you guys know what I'm saying? But anyway, here we are wrapping up the rest of the floor plan. And basically the staircase had to be in a really awkward spot. So there is a little entryway, and over here is just the little tiny kitchen. And I tried to use some of the kind of like older looking appliances and more of these rustic, industrial almost style cabinets and countertops, just because I felt like it fit the vibe of the build all in all. The other ones really didn't. Like, the ones that came with vampires were way too Victorian and nice, and this is more of like your rustic stone cottage, so it wasn't really the vibe I was going for. And I do toss some little jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins over in the corner because fall is a-coming. It is approaching, and I love Halloween, and granted, I don't want this to be like a creepy, spooky apartment. I thought it was still kind of a nice little touch to add because, well, I just thought it was fun. And I'm cluttering up the counter here, and I did make sure that those pots on top of the stove didn't actually obscure your Sim's ability to use the stove, because the one time it actually did stop my Sim from using the stove was when it was on one of the front burners. So I played around with it a little bit, and my Sim was able to cook. If your Sim is not able to cook, I would just say maybe delete them and put them somewhere else if you do want to keep them. And then I just put a small little dining table here, since there is only one Sim that I'm picturing in this household. A little two-seater was no big deal. It's exactly what I was looking for. I didn't want like a huge dining table or anything like that. And I just kind of put this little oil lamp here, and then I kind of move on to various parts of the home. When I find items that I think work, I basically just grab them and toss them where I think they will go generally. So there are a few items like sitting out in that living room space, as you guys can see already, and I go ahead and place them later on. But yeah, I'm just kind of wrapping up the kitchen, and then I picked kind of this older looking wallpaper, which I thought was really nice because, again, we're not going creepy here. We're just going older, more rustic, and this wallpaper was really pretty, I thought. It was kind of gentle and soft, and the wood texture at the bottom of that wallpaper actually looks a little tiny bit worn, so I thought it fit perfectly. And I just kind of put a chair there in the corner, and then I put these candle overhead chandeliers or lights. I was just gonna go lights, but like chandeliers. And personally, I'm not a huge fan of the very yellow glow that these cast, so I do change them to white, though of course you could kind of go with like the duller yellow look if you wanted to kind of keep that candle vibe going. But I just really like the white light. Everything looks cleaner and true to color, which is really what I'm here for. So yeah, I did do that, and now I'm just trying to figure out what I want the layout to be in the living room, because I really couldn't figure out exactly where I wanted to put certain objects. So I went ahead and tossed out a bookcase over here between these two archways, and then I was kind of like, well, can I fit a couch here? And which couch do I want? And then I decided I want to bring out the couch that matches the chair in the front. And at that point, I was like, well, it's not really a formal living space. It's just one Sim that lives here, so it can be whatever I want it to be. So I go ahead and clutter up this little side table here and pick out a coffee table and some other random clutter items. But let's just talk about Realm of Magic for a second, because there have been more teasers that came out. We had our very first look at familiars, which, so I'm not extremely familiar not that familiar with the concept of familiars. I know that basically, I think they help you like be more powerful, or they offer some form of protection or like something like that. So I'm really interested to see how that system works, and I am just so freaking stoked for this pack to come out. Like, I cannot wait. Honest to God, I mean, I already said this in one of my other builds, but I took a half day at work. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm going to be home for when this actually comes out. I'm clicking through the calendar right now as I do this to get an actual countdown, but we are almost exactly 1 week away. And when I say almost, I mean like a week and like 5-6 days, something like that. So we're getting there. We're getting there. It's almost time. But I'm really, really excited to get this pack, and decorating for this kind of build in anticipation of this pack just got me so excited, because I'm not a huge fan of like vampires in the game. That's just not my thing. Aliens, not my thing for gameplay either. Like I said, I'm more of a family player if you really get down to it, but if there were like witches and wizards, I'd probably play that all the time, and that's pretty much what we're getting. So I'm really excited, and I think that the aspect of like the potion making too, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they are doing that. I think it's going to be so freaking cool. So I cannot wait. You guys will have to tell me down below what you are most excited for this pack. Like, are you excited for the worlds? Are you excited for the build and buy objects? Are you excited for the functionality? Like, I want to know what you guys are looking forward to. But now we are in the turret, and I was basically making this like the little tiny spellcaster room, like this little kind of magic room where they keep like different magical artifacts. They have like a spell book here, which of course Game of Vampires, there's literally pictures of garlic on it, but I was thinking that was kind of like the spell book. And this little cauldron, I don't know, I thought it was kind of clever, but that's actually a Halloween decoration. It's a light show, and I put it in there because I was picturing it was the actual cauldron they would use to make different potions and everything. So I thought it was kind of nice to add that element. And now we're upstairs in kind of this awkwardly lofted-ish bedroom. And as you can see, it kind of does cut out here and there because of the fact that I had to have the walls like halfway up, but I thought it was pretty cute, and just kind of toss a dresser here, and that's pretty much it. So I can't wait to hear what you guys think, and let me know what you would add to this, and I cannot wait until Realms of Magic comes out. Talk to you soon. Bye.